I have never played the acoustic drums.
There you go. You have a chance today to do so.
And which I apologize for in advance.
All right.
It's actually crazy. I've been doing some kind of music since I was like 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of my interactions with cymbals have been through recordings,
Sure.
have been through samples, have been through electronic simulations of it, have been through white noise. And so I've only ever seen and manipulated cymbals from a distance and just looked at them as artifacts from some other dimension. And so I was hoping to take this as an opportunity that you could be sort of my spirit guide to explore these beautiful objects.
Yeah. So this is a percussive instrument. Most likely for most music, cymbals are effectual instruments that are there to like mark the beginning of a part or the end of another one, or a climatic swell.
People often sometimes refer to them like a splash cymbal.
Yeah.
Like a moment of energy explosion somehow.
Indeed, most of the names of cymbals that you'll find are marketing, let's say, names that were given to them historically over the last less than 100 years or so, because they are also relatively new instruments. I would say out of most instruments that you hear in most music, the drum set is a very modern, I would say one of the newest ones. The idea of a drum set started during the early 1900s. Cymbals as we know them are kind of an invention of Sidjan, the American factory that came by Turkey.
Okay.
But yeah, splash, crash, ride, China, pang, I don't know, sizzle, all of these terms come from Sidjan's marketing campaigns to try to like make them more approachable to the customer. Like crash is because it crash, you know, it's not really a splash is because it's splash. It's a bit of a smaller version of the crash. Ride is mainly because that's its function, to ride, to like be the riding aspect of the music. In the music in which it was used, which was jazz, which the ride cymbal was supposed to be like the quarter note, like the constant ding, 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 ding. So it's riding the music.
So at the end of the day, it's just a big sheet of metal
that makes noise.
That makes noise.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Mariano. I am a drummer and a cymbalsmith, surely. And I've been doing this for the last 6 years of my life. We are right now in Anderlecht, in
Fancy
Brussels. Yeah. In a big building called City Gate, my workshop.
Every piece that leaves this workshop has been fully crafted by you.
Yeah, indeed. Right? All of them throughout the 4 years that this workshop has been open. Not only all of them have been fully crafted, but I am one of the few ones independently that commits to the whole thing, meaning I do all of my bells. Everything starts like this. Flat, entirely flat.
Everything starts like this and ends up like that.
Indeed.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So on an average day, we might find you here hammering cymbals.
Most of the work is hammering. The way that I see it is like 80% of what I do is happens here, and then I go there and I obsess over like sound for a while, but most of it is right here. This is like the material, the raw material.
Can we have a look at that?
Yeah, this is a very warped and fucked up. It has been with me for, I don't know, probably a year or more at this moment. That was part of one of the most fucked up batches of blanks. We call it blank.
This is a blank.
It is a blank that I received. And it was so fucked up that I actually started working on others to the point that I deemed using my time trying to make this into a functional instrument probably not a worthwhile endeavor. A better example of a good-looking blank would be this. The shape is a bit more uniform, it's a bit more flexible. You see what I mean? This one is, the other one is, there you go. So I made it that way so that you can actually hear what a blank sounds like just the material within itself. Let me
completely unshaped cymbal.
Yeah.
Raw.
Quickly grab a stick. And the idea of bronze and the reason for which this particular material and metal is used is that historically, the legend says that the first ever cymbalsmith, which is untrue, there's like cymbals go as far back as like the Greek society, and Chinese makers have been making cymbals for even thousands before that. But the modern legend of how it happens in Turkey is that there was an alchemist that was trying to make gold out of like other materials, and he stumbles onto this particular alloy, which was interesting because of how much it rung, how much like from its little, when you actually smelt this, it comes out in like these little discs that are kind of like that and kind of like this thick.
Yeah.
And you touch them and they just ping, and have a endless, sustained, very like beautiful tone from the get-go. Like this metal sings naturally, right? So then the Turkish, I forgot, like Sultan or Emperor or whatever the hell, pretty much made this alchemist into the person that would make these instruments for the army, because they were very loud army instruments, marching instruments. That was their initial purpose. So the thing is that this metal naturally sings, right? So you can actually kind of hear, but in this particular shape, what you're gonna hear is, in my opinion, something void, because you're gonna hear very low end, very high end, almost nothing in the middle. That's how my ear perceives it. So you see how there's a lot of like really like whispery high end, and there's like a low rumble, but it's kind of empty in between those two aspects.
This is wonderful.
Isn't it? Make something a bit different. And I don't know if with this surface, kind of. If you do it with the butt of the stick, it's different as well. Etc. It's a cool material. But the interesting thing is that what you're hearing now, to me it sounds like almost like the way that I hear it, it sounds kind of like space. You know, it has like these very like strong, extreme ends. And just as soon as you make what for me is the place where the soul of the instrument lives, I can hear the moment that you make the bell, how the cymbal is born. For me, the most important part of the instrument is the bell. It really like, it's not a cymbal already. And you'll hear it as soon as I... There's so much more sustain and more information. Like that cold aspect of like having these two weird extremes is now starting to get a bit warmer, more towards the middle, where you have something more, I don't know, there's a song that feels a bit more human. I'll say it's still a bit wispy, but regardless, there's much more there than there was just here. And the only thing that's different is the fact that there's a bell on it.
Can we take it to the next level and now put a finished cymbal on there? And then in the edit, we can cut 1, 2, 3?
So yeah, when you have a finished one, then through the shape, the cymbal should be able to sing how normally a cymbal sings, which is a lot of resonance.
Beautiful. So in a way, all the shaping you do takes that potential energy, this empty energy that you said, which is like maybe too low and too high, and focuses it in a specific area in the high mids that gives it its character.
I would say more than that, like it allows the thing to move like in all of the different possible frequency spectrum.
Yeah. Its articulations are made possible thanks to the shapes, the way it resonates. Beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing this.
No problem.
Wow. Great. You know, in electronic music, we're either using samples of this exact thing, or we are synthesizing stuff from scratch. And then when I think of cymbals, I often think of white noise. I often think of that kind of atonal, non-pitched energy that's kind of splashy. Because when all sounds obviously have frequencies from 20 to 20,000 hertz and some combination of frequencies. When a sound plays a frequency for a long time, you say it has a certain pitch. And usually these kind of instruments, I think I would approximate them by doing unpitched sounds, more like white noise. But they do resonate, right? Which is again a kind of a pitched sound. When you sculpt these, can you tell me a little bit about the resonances inside of them?
I would say that more than anything, I am not trying to approach the thing that I want. I am trying to take away the things that I don't. That is kind of how I see it.
Interesting.
I relinquish control a bit. I approach shape knowing that this shape should somewhat give me this wide range of sounds. And then after a while, I start trying to like take away the things that I think are bothersome. And if I can, just exaggerate a bit the functionality aspect, which I think is the most important. This instrument needs to be functional. And by functional, I mean it needs to have a clear articulation. Resonance-wise, you might be surprised that I think of it more as white noise as well. In fact, not that it doesn't. It does have a bass tone. But as a drummer, I think that most people would prefer there not to be any lingering tone. Lingering tones tend to be annoying, especially in an instrument that is constantly making noise. Like the drum set, for the kind of music that it's supposed to be, it's a very constant instrument. It's there all the time. So if you have a lingering dum, 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 tends to be kind of in the way. So the more quote unquote transparent, or the more kind of like ample in how many things are happening simultaneously, kind of the best. I think of it as a beautiful white noise, so to speak.
A beautiful white noise.
Yeah.
That's a very nice way of thinking of it. This is when you have the moment of enlightenment. It's like a gong in a way, right?
Gongs are cymbals. Like gongs are gongs, but they are, I would say, cousins, if not brothers. You know, they make sound through the same physical characteristics, right? Like the way that they move, it's pretty much the same. Towards the edge, it moves slower and wider, so it creates low-end sound. Towards the bell, it moves really fast and really like small, so it's high frequencies. It is particularly obvious and clear in a cymbal that what you're hearing in a cymbal is acoustic representation of its physical form. So like any kind of move or bump or different angle in the actual bronze will be directly impacting what you hear, because it's literally what you're hearing. It's the thing moving and creating all of these waves that we then hear. So yeah.
One thing I'm hearing that I didn't know about is an almost like sub-bass tone that comes out of it, like a hum.
Near the edge.
I feel like a hum.
Put your ear like as close as you can to the edge. Yeah. And if any cymbal has the more potential for low-end shit, and you want to capture low-end shit, it's this one, just because of the diameter. It's a big boy.
What excites you about cymbals?
I'm a drummer, and I I played the drums since I was around 12 or something like that. But seriously, from around 18, 19 years old, I chose around that age that I wanted to follow or try to become a jazz drummer. And within that music, the cymbal is a very special thing. Not only for drummers, almost every other musician recognizes that within the drum set, the cymbal has something that is very, I don't know if it's mysterious, I don't know exactly what it is. Like, I mean, it's really like a mesh of harmonics and frequencies happening all together at the same time. And yet, there's something about them that is not overly complex or overly white noise. And each cymbal is a world of its own and has a different vibe. They drive different, they inspire different things within you. And like from trumpet players to piano players, all of them, like I would say, recognize something special in the cymbals. And as a drummer, well, you can imagine, it drew me to them, you know? And yeah, like I would say as a drummer, it was my favorite part of the drum set. So here's the thing, the drum set, you can kind of change most things about it. The drum set in general is a non-tuned instrument. It's different than most other instruments that we use that are supposed to resonate at a certain frequency, that are supposed to be able to be correctly tuned. Drum set is like you do whatever you want. Like you can detune the skins of the drums, you can tune them as high as you want, you can put some stuff on it, you can play with them, and there's no right or wrong sound, so to speak. But you can mess with them. Cymbals you can't. You can't to a certain degree, you can put a little rivet, you can put a little bit of tape, but the sound of the thing is the sound of the thing. Unless you grind it, unless you lathe it, but those are tools that the common drummer doesn't have. So there's something special about this thing that is kind of like you're given a sound that is there. It's within it, and it's unmovable and unchangeable. It looks and feels like a color. Like the most amount of color that I can obtain as a drummer, I get it from the cymbal. And so as a drummer, I was always trying out new ones, and like I will change this one for that one. I would go to a store and say, hey, I like that one, but I don't have the money. So they would say, okay, cool, I'll buy the one that you have there for X, and now you owe me X, and I will, sure. And I would always be shifting through new cymbals because they were colors and they were different voices, and they are different, like, I don't know, there's something very special about them. When you really listen to them and when they mean as much as they mean in the context of jazz, because they really are. If you listen to the music, them and the bass are the driving force of this music. You play around with colors and textures, and that's kind of what you're doing, what drew me to it.
It's really like a reverb.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
that's a reverb, right?
That is, yeah.
Exactly. It's a metallic plate. That...
Today I'd like us to explore the sound of these objects, both in the way that you intended for them to be heard,
Sure.
and then also in the wrong way, because
Indeed.
that's just
Yeah.
how we roll.
Yeah. I'll tell you, there's no wrong way.
What's the worst way to use a cymbal? How should you not use them?
I would say, I am gonna go and say that I am not a purist, and I would say there's no wrong way. The only wrong way, in my opinion, will be a way that hinders the durability of the instrument, right? But even that is not a wrong way if you are okay with the instrument having a shorter lifespan, you know? Try to not hit it with a metallic thing that it's girthy or heavier than the instrument, because it will crack sooner than later. Other than that, do with it what you please. It moves and vibrates. However you make it do that, it's up to you. So surely the most common way is just put it on the stand, hit it with a stick, right?
Yeah.
But see enough concerts, see enough drummers, and you'll see that everybody's searching for their own ways of making sounds that are often not heard through them.
In electronic music, often what we do is we record sounds. That allows us to get more abstract with them. And so one of the things that I sort of have been putting out into the world, sorry for the self-promotion, is this idea of like the triangle method. And when I talk about the triangle method, what I usually intend is to choose a sound object, for example this, figure out a way of activating it, and then for several minutes, explore that specific way of interacting with it and record that as audio. So then you have about 2 to 4 minutes, let's say, of audio that then later on you're going to use, you're going to edit it in the digital world probably, you know, it used to be on tapes, etc. But in the digital world, you're going to compose something with those sound textures. So what I'm super interested in today is generating material like that, finding different ways of interacting with this and harvesting interesting textures that then I can use later on in different compositions. It's like a sound color that I then have available to me in composition. So I'd like us to try out different methods and also kind of weird methods of activating this and just getting to know the beasts.
This maybe being less. That one was the best so far. Yeah.
It really sounds like a voice off in the distance going, ah.
Yeah. These I think were leather working rivets, and then it's just like little sizzles, like. Especially because drummers love to use them, like in a ballad or something, you know. They just love to like be playing the brushes and just like. It's like a very beautiful small accent that you can do with brushes. There's a tendency nowadays for things to be dry, muffled, toneless, almost like, I don't know what musical tendency drove people to play instruments that sound like that. Very little tone, very little resonance, right? I don't know if it's how I grew up. I don't know if it's what my ear caught along the way that I found interesting or the influences that I heard. But that same culture that has been developing around the drums is now kind of like, in my opinion, infecting the cymbal world as well. And people are little by little, more than anything, driven by Meinl, a German company, that makes cymbals in that fashion, that makes cymbals that are very dry, very dark, very like almost clicky, but without a lot of soul or character, right? Cymbals that sound a bit more like this. Well, not like that because this is still, but where the resonance is kind of like sacrificed for the articulation, right? And you hear them in context, in musical context, and you hear something that is void. It feels void. It feels almost like doing like that. It's not much different in context than hitting the rim of a drum set. And in terms of resonance and reverberance, I think that this instrument, one of the beautiful things about it, is that since it's so constant, it is so all the time behind it, one of its functions is creating a bed of like sound, of just like a mesh of sound underneath that feels warm, that feels like part of the music that you might not be able to identify, but like the resonance, in my opinion, is very important. Having a drum that speaks, that has a voice, that it gives you a bit of tone. Sure, it might come down fast enough, but there's a tone in it. Dum. You know, it speaks, right? The same with the cymbal. It is not entirely dry. It has a tail to it, and then you can play with it, because otherwise you have not much to play with. And if you ever played any notes that were far apart, what you would get is emptiness. And I think this instrument can be quite beautiful if it's not empty. So that's another resonance thing that I could have spoken about during that little conversation. You see, everything kind of like resonates. When you play this instrument, sure, there's rhythm, at least in my opinion. That's the beautiful thing about when you hear it played in a jazz context. Sure, there's rhythm, sure, there's like activation and like counterpart, and there's like this thing that moves forward, even if you might not be able to say you don't know. It's not like where you know, like we have heard it so much that you know. If I said, and I ask you, where does it start? I guarantee you that both of you will do there simultaneously, because we feel how it feels. Maybe what I was doing before, if I ask you where it's starting, you might not know it, but you feel this thing. You feel like how it moves forward. You feel like how it advances and has a thing about it. And that is beautiful, in my opinion, not only because of like the rhythmic aspect of it, but also because of the bed of noise and sound that is happening underneath. You know, like if you have tone to your instruments, when you play them together, there's something that happens that might be different than when you play them alone, or you play it on the edge, or you mute it, or you let it ring, and you there's, you know, it doesn't feel like I would say most commercially appropriate drums, which are like a bit more dry and made for their own little registers, so to speak. You know, there's bleeding in between things here, and things bleed in between and like create the whole. So like that's what these kind of instruments would be more appropriate for, I would say. They are not super dry, and I don't like that either. I like there to be that, you know. Surely, maybe some drummer might come here and think like, oh, I'm playing that. They call it washy. It's too washy. There's no control. Washy is a word that we use, meaning we have attack and wash. Wash is everything that happens after the attack. So all possible resonance after is what we call wash. It's too washy. But if you play it for a while, if you understand how to play it, you can actually obtain from it what you need it to do, you know? After a while, you hear the articulation. You actually perceive it, and it's clear to you. It's clear to everybody around, you know? Like, so this one is it's less washy. The articulation is a bit more forward. It's more front-facing. This one is a bit more, I would say, it's less wide, so like it's a bit more close together, but still you can get something out of it. It's more wall of sound, but within it you can still hear the chinkirin, 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 chinkirin that's supposed to happen. So yeah, that would be a practical application of my work. Yeah.
What's the name of your company?
The name of my company is Quijano Cymbals. It's in Spanish. It's my mom's last name, which is my last name as well.
Hell yeah. If I was a drummer and I was looking to buy one of these, where would I find them?
My website, which is literally the name of my workshop.com. So Quijano Cymbals.
On screen right now.
.com. You want to see the lathe?
Yes, please.
Let's do it. This might be something that you might want to capture with your mic.
Okay.
Because this makes an interesting sound.
Tesla's a boom. What's it called? Boom operator without a stick.
I want you in, Matt. You want to capture that?
Please do.
Cool sounds. Just like that. Difference between that and how it was before. Little by little, unveiling the thing that is inside.
Yeah, does it sound like something in the headphones?
Yeah, it's like ASMR.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for, yeah. Perfect.
There you go.
Masterpiece.
Yeah.
Nice. Welcome to ASMR.
So.